Hi, my name is Ken and I'd like to welcome you to the Sin Makes You Stupid small group. I'd like to share a story with you about an enterprising individual who bought a really high-end quality printer from Walmart. He took it home, started working on it, and everything was going well, and then it jammed. He didn't know how to fix it, so he figured, I'd just return it back to Walmart. So the clerk checks the printer out when he returns it, opens the cover, and finds a sheet of counterfeit $100 bills. What was the guy thinking? Why didn't he clean it out? Have you ever had one of those times in your life when you said something or you did something and immediately afterwards you thought, man, what was I thinking? We've all had those moments. Those moments usually happen when we come across different situations in our life, like when we make a rush decision based on not enough information, when we have impatience or frustration, or if we have a quick change of circumstances that causes us to react emotionally. And also we'll be presented sometimes with an opportunity that suddenly looks really good and you gotta act right away. Think of buying something on TV. What I'd like you to do now is take a few minutes with your group and discuss your what was I thinking moment that you had in your life.
Hi. Today our theme, which you'll find in chapter 1 of your book, is why does sin make smart people stupid? The biggest reason I think that sin turns smart people stupid is because so often when we start to drift into sin or wander into sin, we have to change the way we think, the way we process and filter information into our hearts and minds, in order to justify that sin or make it seem okay to us or deal with the guilt or somehow push God aside because we know it doesn't please him. So it changes the way we think about things. And as we fall into sin, our thinking becomes more and more tainted because our filter, the filter through which we take in information, is damaged. Achan, in our chapter today, is a great example of this. When God knocked down the walls of Jericho flat and let the Israelites be part of that miracle, and they went and ransacked the city, God told them not to take any wealth out of the city, none. But Achan, because of his sin nature, decided he was going to disobey God and thought that hiding the stuff he took under his tent was going to be invisible to God. Either that, or he thought God wouldn't hold him accountable for disobeying God's command. Either way, what was he thinking? Achan's filter was really messed up. And as you read this chapter and you see the process he went through, watching God catch him, you have to ask yourself, what was he thinking? Did he really believe that the God of Israel, who miraculously knocked the walls of Jericho flat, did he really think that God would not know what he was up to? His filter was messed up. His mind, his emotions, and will the filter that feeds them was messed up. He forgot that everyone is accountable to God. I think accountability is critically important in everyone's life. One of my older mentors used to say, if it's not inspected, it's neglected. I always thought that was a great saying because our lives are inspected by God on a daily basis. He sees everything. He doesn't miss anything. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows how many hairs are on your head. He knows exactly what's going on in your life. So God, knowing that, wants us to be accountable to him. And yet his accountability is not oppressive. It's loving and gracious and protective. God wants us to understand that everyone is accountable to him. Do you think God is surprised when you and I mess up and sin? When we do something really dumb that we know doesn't please him, do you think he's surprised? Oh my goodness, look what Kevin just did. I can't believe it. God never says that. God actually sees sin coming your way. And he sees how you process that as you entertain sin and temptation, and kind of start to readjust your thinking to make it okay and to deal with the guilt and to push God aside in your life enough so that you can figure out how to have the sin and have your Christianity too. That's what happens to us when we don't realize that we're totally accountable to God. I want to challenge you today as you read this chapter to think about accountability. I believe that people who reject accountability will crash and burn every time in their lives. We all need to be accountable. Accountability is protective. It causes us to think twice before we do that thing that will destroy our family, destroy our life, or damage us in such a way that it takes us years to pick up the pieces. If we stay accountable to God from the beginning and let Him constantly upgrade our filter so that we are always aware of His presence in our lives, we will save ourselves a lot of heartache and sorrow.